everyone to this exciting event. Long time coming for some. It's an exciting time to be here. I'd like to welcome all of you to the 2011 Ely Memorial High School graduation. Mrs. Kess and I, along with the teaching staff, were privileged to have been working with these students. Unfortunately, I've only been here 2 years, but have been very fortunate to be with the students as long as I have. At this time, I'm going to have Mrs. Kess come up.
Good evening and welcome everyone. Each year is the tradition of the class to have a class speaker, a member of their group, come forward and give a speech. And it's partly by willingness to step up and partly by election. This year's speaker, Alex Kuzjak, is the chosen person. I know I could say something positive about every single student sitting up here, but since Alex is one coming up, I'm just going to tell you one thing about him that I guess I'm amazed at. He is the only person in my tenure as a counselor, and I think since I've been in this school, and maybe it was the first time in our school ever, took 3 science classes in his junior year, right, Alex? Human anatomy, chemistry, and physics at the same time. He did very well in all of it. So I think it's no mystery that he's going to be studying a science field when he goes off to Hamlin next year. I think it's astrophysics is his chosen field. I know Alex, he's a scholar, he's an athlete, and he's a gentleman. Come up, Alex.
All right, spoiler alert. Somebody's going to cry during this speech. I might. Carly, you probably will. My mom definitely will. If she's not already. But I still will. It's my great honor to speak to and on behalf of my senior class this evening. I would like to start by giving you all a number. 2,300. I can basically hear Steven thinking, what in the world does that have to do with anything? Well, there's 2,300 hours and it makes about 96 days. The year 2,300 might be the year the Cubs finally win the World Series again. Might be the year Brett Favre stays retired. Or the Vikings might finally win the Super Bowl. More importantly, there are roughly 2,300 miles in the Mississippi River. From our own backyard in Lake Itasca, all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico, stretches our country's longest river. Rivers are essential to life in many ways. They provide water for drinking, bathing, farming, and for power. Rivers also carve out the land from what it once looked like thousands or millions of years ago to what we see today. But rivers are also symbols. They symbolize our lives. Life is like you're floating down a river. Every river has a beginning. Every life has a beginning. The moment you were born, you began floating down the river. For the most part, the river is smooth for the first few miles. Once you grow a bit older, we come across rapids. When we get a boo-boo, or if we don't get the toy we wanted for Christmas. These small rapids come and they go, and we probably forget about them. We move on. Then the rapids start to get a little rougher. We worried about how mad Mom would get when she saw the grass stain on our pants, or we got our first pimple. The rapids got a little bigger, but we moved on. Later in life, rapids get even bigger. We need to pay for college, find a spouse, buy a car, buy a house, raise a family, and take care of our parents. We navigate these rapids as well, and we move on. When we are floating down the river, you can always look back, but the current will keep pushing you forward. Some of the most crucial rapids one faces are in school. I like to think that we are all floating down the river separately until we come to school. Then we all had to get in the same boat together. 2,300. Roughly the number of days we spent together starting in kindergarten until this moment right now. 2,300 miles that we floated down the river together. Kindergarten was our Lake Itasca. We traveled 2,300 miles together, navigating the rapids, enjoying the smooth waters, and becoming friends. Though some of us may have switched seats once, twice, or a number of times, we have all been friends at one point or another. Some people have gotten off the boat, and some new people have gotten on. Things would be a lot different, had even one of those people not been on our boat. We have been through a lot as a class, starting all the way back when we were just little tykesters, playing games on the playground, going on field trips to places like the zoo, Iron World, the Wolf Center, the zoo. And ELC. We went through the ever-interesting time of junior high. We had classes like shop, speech, music, and gym. We had art with Ms. Mo. We took home ec, and now we all love cooking and sewing. Never mind. We had an infamous health class. The choices we made during this journey have made us into who we are as individuals and as a class. Even the little choices make a big difference. Smiling at someone in the hall, opening the door for someone, or even not saying it at all, at times when someone's having a bad day, can make their day better. Everyone makes these little choices every day. But we as a class are at our Gulf of Mexico. Minus the oil. We are at the end of our boat ride together, and we have huge choices to make in our immediate future. We now have to take our own boat in our own direction and live our own lives. We have to choose a college, choose a major, change our major, change it again, choose where to live, and choose who to marry. We have many choices to make and many rapids to face, but we can put all those on hold for at least one more night. The river has reached its end, so we can turn around and look back at all our accomplishments, triumphs, tribulations, and feats. The back of our senior t-shirt says that it took 2011 years to get class this good. In my mind, this holds true because we are so unique. This class has produced musicians, doctors, architects, computer scientists, engineers, physicists, authors, mechanics, and teachers, to name a few. We are probably the only class to advertise our senior skip day for the whole school to see. For that matter, we're probably the only class to have our senior skip day on the day that we didn't even have school. We have experienced incredible events, both good and bad, during our time here at Ely Memorial High. We watched the ski team win state last year, but we also experienced a great tragedy. Some of our classmates have witnessed things that I don't wish upon anyone. Through all of these smooth times in these rapids, we made it through together. Let's recap some highlights from our senior years. Harley and Caleb were homecoming king and queen. Stephen and Chelsea were winter frolic king and queen. We had the DC trip. We had prom. We finished our research papers. And of course, graduation. Tonight is the night that we are rewarded with those cherished diplomas signifying the end of our time here at Ely Memorial High. The end of our undefeated tug-of-war streak. The end of avoiding Mr. Braff at lunchtime when we are eating in the hallway. The end of looking out at beautiful spring weather while we're stuck in class. There'll be no more porch days. It's the end of getting to hear all of Mr. Omerza's famous quotes such as, "Good gravy, Omerza," or his theme song, Scooby-Doo. There will be no more fire drills, lockdowns, or tornado drills. Yes, tonight signifies the end of our time here together, but it does not signify the end of our time as a class. We are still in class of 2011 after tonight. We are always going to be the class of 2011. No one can take that away from us. In closing, I'd just like to say this. Society is like a machine. It's cold, harsh, and ruthless. Don't let society dictate your life. Don't get caught up in all the hype over this and that. Take time for yourself once in a while, because society won't slow down for you. It's your responsibility to slow yourself down and make personal time. I wish you all the best over the summer, in college, work, family, and fun. We traveled 2,300 miles together, and I wouldn't have wanted to be on any other boat than this one. But it's not quite over. I hope to see you all tonight at the all-night grad party, if I don't leave you safe. We would like to thank all of you, families, friends, and faculty, for coming and celebrating this momentous occasion in our lives. Without all of you, we wouldn't be here tonight. Thank you.
I do miss these guys, and I miss my colleagues, and I miss you. But life was to change for me in a wonderful way, in a strange way. But I'm going to set that aside. I don't know, I really know what they asked for when they asked me to speak tonight. I did read that the purpose of a commencement address is to sedate a bunch of seniors so they can be put into society, and that may be my job tonight, I'm not quite sure. But I also know that I have some things to share. I saw Mike Skelton this afternoon and he said, I love your chem lectures. 20 minutes of chemistry, 30 minutes of life. Now, some of you parents didn't get that, and I had a lot, I was guessing about a third of the families I had, and one or two of the parents. And I didn't know much. I had you, but I have learned a bit over the years. I'd like to share that with you tonight. I've given you a coin. It's a 2011 presidential coin. I was going for the quarter, but they haven't been printed yet. This is a dollar. That's almost off my budget, but it is a special. It's a special coin. It's a special coin that when you make a wish, that wish can come true in terms of your future. But don't make that wish yet. Actually, these came. Via a genie, and the genie said that whatever you wish you can have, which reminds me of a story. This isn't in my notes, but it does remind me of a story. Just thinking of Holstein, he has this course he's teaching next year. He asked me if I could, no, he didn't ask me. It's on GPSs, and the story goes that he and Law and Delaney are out on this venture, and he's with the GPS, pretty soon helplessly lost on an island in Burnside and doesn't know his way home. It's kind of like a Gilligan's Island, and time passes. And washing up on shore is a bottle, as often happens in Burnside. But this one had a genie in it, and the genie comes out and says, I grant you each one wish, and then I'll be gone. And Mr. Lowenstein, the thoughtful one, right? Oh, he's deep in thought, and you think, oh, I miss my wife and kids, and taking to my boys and another. And the class of 2010, let me not forget them, I miss them. And take he's translated back home, yes. And Mr. Duramy, scientific method, man, oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, so I like that Echo Trail, and my wife and kid, he wishes and is gone. Mr. Law, he's dreaming. He's in his book somewhere, not paying attention to what's going on. And whoa, where's my friends? I'm here on the island. He said, gee, what's going on? He goes, wish, make a wish. Man, I wish I had my friends back again. And I say that, he's saying this, when you make your wish and you're going to head down the road and get on a career, it's not just for you. It's a wish that affects a whole bunch of other people I've been pondering for a while. I had my nose speech earlier. I thought maybe a chance that one of these two classes would ask me to speak, and I really don't like it up here, and was ready to say no, but this past year I got to spend a month with my wife in Florida. Didn't get the golf clubs out or the fishing rod, and I just thought about life, and I thought, you know what, I got a couple things I'd like to share with you guys tonight. So with that, we really begin, and there's two words tonight I'd like to talk about, time and advice, and Nick Lockton already gave me a thing about time. Nick, start your stopwatch. I'll see if I can stay within your time limit. See, I owe Nick, I blew his knee out when he was heading for a pro career, and I was covering one Thursday night, so this one's for you, Nick. There was another suggestion I got along those lines, and it had to deal with an Irish wake. Now, I haven't heard of much about an Irish wake before, so I did a little research. And I find out that during an Irish wake, they take the body of the deceased and put him in his home. They have this wonderful party that takes place afterwards, and I thought, said to Becky, that's a good idea. You know, I think we should celebrate life when it's done. And I hope that maybe we have an Irish wake out at Wetzel someday. Not real soon, but someday, celebrating what's taking place. And my question to you, as we go through the night, is at that Irish wake, when they're celebrating, what would they be celebrating in your life? Not the fact that you're gone, I hope, but what things would they be celebrating in your life? Now, I had to understand that first, and here was the advice that was given to me, and maybe you'll catch on to this. It said something like this, Tom, you got to think of yourself like the body at an Irish wake. And I go, the body at an Irish wake? Yeah, they need you to have their party, but they don't expect you to say much. And so with that, whatever intro, taking probably way too long, I got two things I would like to share with you tonight. One is on time, and the second is on advice. So I began giving you a presidential point. I give you a quote from the one who had some of the greatest funny quotes of all time, George W. Bush. And if he was here tonight, this is what he would say to you probably, and I can too. To those of you who received honors and awards and distinctions, I say, well done. And to you students, I say, you may be President of the United States someday. Let me translate that. What that means is we are all beginning a new journey. Some of you closed the doors a little bit. I don't think any of you slammed the doors on life yet. And you've got potential ahead of you that goes forever. But where are we going to go? I love Alec's speech. We're at the end, and now we're going to make some decisions. I hope tonight, as I share just a couple of things, I can help you with those decisions. Because it's not just where we want to be tomorrow, it's where we want to be when we have the Irish wake for us. Where do you want to go in life as you work your way through life? You've been given a second gift tonight that I wasn't able to put in a form of a coin, and that's time. And you guys, more than most of the people who sit out there, have time that's been given to you. It's a precious gift, one you can never get back again, one that it keeps spending. And I even got a book at retirement, or a suggestion to read, and I did read, Don't Waste Your Life. A book written that says, don't waste your life. When you retire, don't walk the shore kicking seashells, but do something. And I say the same to you. You've been given the gift of time. And don't abuse that gift of time. There's a great organization called Make-A-Wish Foundation. Do some wonderful things for terminally ill kids. But you know, if those kids could truly have the wish of their life, what it would be? One more year, one more month, or just give me one more week of life. The reality of that kind of sets in, and a couple of stories I'll share briefly. One is with a former student, and for sure some of the parents out there know, Dave Gillespie, Chaz. Teammate of Frank Ivancic, and his story, if I can summarize it quickly, found to have cancer in high school. Had to sit out some sports, and I know I played in the last minute of the end of a season game. Really no value in the game whatsoever, and with tears in his eyes, he said, Coach, that meant so much to me to get back in the game and get give up athletics. But he had a second chance. And Chaz made the most of it. As a matter of fact, teamed with Frank Ivancic, they made a run. And if Chaz didn't get strep throat, and I think Frank sprained an ankle, and as Coach McDonald would say, couldn't get the backside of a bowl with a handful of sand. We ended up losing the barn in the eventual state champs, but we had a great run, and a lot of that was the dedication that Dave, the heart that Dave had. He went on to the University of Minnesota, became a pitcher at the University of Minnesota after he had a clear bill of health from cancer. But it came back again. And I remember sitting in, being in the bedroom with him in the last time, and I'm a teary-eyed kind of guy, and I was having a hard time. And he said, Coach, don't feel sorry for me, because I've lived life to the fullest. But feel sorry for those that have wasted their lives. And a second one that affected my life in recent times, and some of you know more than others, I had a wonderful little grandson. Nicky was his name. Special needs boy, never tasted food, tube fed his entire life, never walked, never talked, communicated well, and would roll and crawl like crazy. He became one of my best buddies. I actually spent 10 days with Nicky during my first year of deer hunting retirement. I thought, well, deer shack, here we come. But Nicky came to visit, and I spent those 10 days with him. And I'll never regret that time that I spent with him, because he went home, took his first steps at preschool, went to bed, or took a nap, and never woke up again. And I miss Nicky. Looking forward to seeing him in heaven someday. But I miss Nicky. But Nicky taught me that although time is important, pace, that things happen, and accomplishments are usually overrated. Happiness doesn't come from things, but from deep inside. He changed my life more than anyone, and we celebrate the things that have taken place. And there's many people that have invested their lives in you, special kinds of people that, as I come near the end of this, as I come to the last few pages here, I want you to be thinking about who has invested time in your life that can have an impact on you. I had a Grandpa Wetzel. I love to fish. I don't know if you know that. So you guys know that I got a fishing map here for you. I love to fish. I had a Facebook post a little while ago that had 6-foot stick string in a mud puddle, which we had in our yards all the time. 4-year-old kid I was, with overalls, and Mom said I would stand for hours with a stick and a string in the mud puddle. But you know what? My grandpa, this is where you come in. My grandpa recognized the love that I had for fishing. And he'd come over and pick me up and we'd go fishing when I was 6, when I was 8, and when I was 10, and when I was 14. And we'd go fishing with Grandpa and I. Fishing for bullheads. Ponds, scum over the top. I was thrilled because I could spend some time with my grandpa. And we'd sit together and we'd go fishing. But you know when we were fishing, what he would do? He'd start to tell me about life. Tommy, what you need to know, told me Tommy. Tommy, what you need to know about life. And he began to tell me things about life. He told me about girls, and I didn't even like girls. He told me about what to look for when I married and took his advice and I got a beautiful wife. He told me about Jesus and meant a lot in his life. He talked about religion. And I listened to him because he spent time with me. And that's the thing I want you to think about tonight as you go through is who are you going to listen to when you start to make these decisions? There's a lot of good advice out there. I started looking across the internet about ideas and stuff and came up kind of with my own here. But I thought, man, you can get something that sounds good almost everywhere, but you need to know and listen to some people who have invested time with you. I had a dad along those lines. He'd take me fishing. We cleaned barns and picked eggs and did all those things. But he talked to me a lot about life and had a real impact on me. And I give those examples to link the time idea with advice. Because you've got a roadmap ahead of you. You've got in one hand the world, you got the other hand the coin to make a wish. But as Alex said, now you got to turn and start to make some decisions. And who's going to help you with those decisions? I don't know. You do. I don't have an answer for you. I thought of a lot of words and wisdom and advice when I'm sending my kids letters along the side. Tonight, you know what? Your advice is going to have to come bits and pieces at a time. When you're flunking college algebra. Not that would ever happen with our algebra department. But anyhow, you're going to call some people. You need some people to talk to. You need some advice. You need some people that are taking the fish and that you can listen to when that happens. Now, if you've only heard one thing tonight, some of you wake up here. You've only heard one thing tonight. It says, ask someone about your journey who's been there, someone who spent some time with you, someone who knows and someone who cares. Because there's a lot of false advice out there, and I could be one of those. The thing I hesitated is, I didn't get to spend the time with you in labs and whatever, to really get to know you and share. And so rather than specific advice, I want you to know there's some people out there that really care. I've got another example here real quick, like Crooked Lake. Got some marks on it. Now, once in a while, you run across a good fishing spot. I like to fish. Once in a while, you run across a good fishing spot by accident. Father Ryan Roberts and Emmett and I and my son, Crooked Lake, drifting across, Step Finder looks, walleye, big walleye, big walleye. Might have been there. I don't know if we were there. Anyhow, we now named that reef based on Father Ryan's nickname. But a year or so later, I thought, there's a guy in town, Dave Chalesnik, he probably knows that lake better than anybody else. How would you like to have coffee with me, Dave? I got some marks on this map that came from someone who had been there. Rock and Owl Rock and south side of this island, and here's where you want to be in July, that had been there and gave me advice, and I didn't have to find it by accident. Nothing wrong with finding a detour and learning from that detour, but once in a while, it's good to ask the right person. I want you to dig around in the days and weeks and months to come and find, probably sitting out there, to find that person who can help you out just a bit with some of those things called life. Now, you think you're obvious. I'm kind of done talking to them for a bit. But a lot of you have a responsibility here that kicks in tonight, should have for a long time. Shouldn't say that, say that poorly. But really, there's a whole nother level of communication between graduated students and parents and grandparents and uncles and aunts and friends. You suggest, you don't tell. But you suggest. And listen to their suggestions as you do that. You share your favorite fishing spot. You might even tell your kids where to pick blueberries, where to go in the mall to get the good deals and when. But a lot of times, you don't share the most important things in your life with those most precious things that you have. And it's your responsibility to share those values, those things that are deep inside. Somewhere in our society, I think we said, oh, they'll figure it out. But they can use a little help, and they will. They'll make the decisions. I told my son never to buy a timeshare when he went on that little tour. We now own it. I told him he couldn't afford it. We now own it. But I think you listen to me. And at least I'm chalked it off. His dad was right. You can give advice. It's a different level. You can't tell them to do. You ask them to do. You suggest. You tell them what's important. And you're doing that. You do that when you're fishing, and you're drawing, and you're out. I was fishing yesterday. And one of the guys in the boat, we were talking about this, said, you know, one of the best conversations I ever had with my son. We were fixing this car, and we've been a couple days on it, and we finally started to talk. And another said, you know, my son just is about to quit his high expensive paid job and get a job that has some meaning. And he's going to listen. And those are precious moments. So look around and find who smiles despite the circumstances, who puts others before themselves, who asks what's the meaning of life, and start asking them some questions. A couple of weeks ago, I spent some time fishing with my grandkids. Oh, was that fun? And then I heard a Trace Adkins song, country western fans who try. I won't sing it. You probably have heard it. It's called Fishing. And he talks about his daughter and spending time with her. And this is for you. Maybe not with these kids, but pretty soon they're going to have grandkids that are going to be chasing around your house. You get another opportunity to start with them. You can talk to them, but there's another generation that you get to talk to. It says that she ain't even thinking about what's going on right now, but I guarantee you, this memory is a big one. And she thinks we're just fishing. She thinks we're just fishing. It ain't only fishing. Our society has lost the grandpas, dads, grandmas and moms and uncles and aunts and cousins and close friends that offer their advice. Used to have it around the table all the time. But you've got to find that time and start doing some fishing and shopping and working and sharing. But like no fishing, I'd love to go with you. Whether that be home somewhere or whatever. I haven't really learned that from most of you. But I will. On this map, that's another story. Heading Blessings on your new beginnings. There's much that lies ahead. Look, listen, and ask. And then make that wish. You might only have one life thought. You want to be paying attention when you make that wish, and then start to move in that direction. I think when you talk to those people, they're not going to talk about cars and boats and wheelers. When they talk about where should I have an X on my map, what should I be looking for? They're going to talk about faith and friends and families and things that you want to put in the world. They're not going to talk about money. They're going to talk about giving it away. It's the things that meant the most in their life. And I don't expect 18-year-olds to get that. That would be amazing. Some of you guys starting already, a good start. Some of you aren't going to figure it out for a while. You guys, you're not done yet, and shouldn't be. I've heard parents say, oh, they're out of the house. That isn't what I should be hearing from the society that we live in. And I say to you, never, never, never quit sharing the real meaning of life with those that you love so much. Blessings on you.
Marsnick, that all 50 of the students on stage have met the graduation requirements of the state of Minnesota and the Ely School District. They are now ready to receive their diplomas.
As we go through this, if we could hold the applause till the end, so our students we can read each of their names as they walk across. Darcy Marie Anderson. Just a reminder, we wanted to hold the applause till the end. This is a formal event. Autumn Lee Arns. You don't learn, do you? Ashley Marie Bastable. Samuel John Beers. Rachel Lee Barron.
All right,
Patrick Charles Bodecker. Samantha Rose Bradley. Zachary Buhite. Jordan Isaac Champa. Cassidy Ann Crawford. Taylor Daniel Davis. It didn't work. Ashley Renee Frank. Kyle Robert Burnett. Andrew Emmanuel Gustafson, valedictorian. Tiamat Lillian Ardell Gustafson. Emily Elizabeth Hay, valedictorian. Jennifer Marie Hakala, valedictorian. Michael Allen Perry. Patrick John Hyman, valedictorian. Earl James Ennis. Stephen Frank Ivancic. Allie Kastner. Alexander Warren Nittler Kaschak. August Anna Law, also valedictorian. Laura Ivana Levar. Lauren Lee Mahoney. Shelby Marie Meidel, also valedictorian. Haley Erin McGinnis. Caleb Meskel. Nicholas Patrick Milovich. Sarah Leanne Moravec. Chelsea Marie Nelson. Isaac Scott Olson. Bryce Robert Perushek. Bradley Matthew Colby. Harley Jean Pujol. Michael James Ryer. Nicholas Richard Rolla. Jacob Lee Shalley. Maximilian Shalley. Cody Jeffrey Schultz. Rachel May Schultz. Harley Ann Schultz. Taylor Aurora Skelton. Elise Murray Stagg. Erica Nicole Starkovich. Tara Jean Tomey. Giles William Trudeau. Stephen Allen Wiesinger. Megan Grace Wagner. A reminder to everyone, it's one of the things that we work on at school when we have formal events or if we have athletic events or whatnot, just to kind of give you the background on that. And tonight is a very special formal event, and we are proud to present the Ely Memorial High School class of 2011.